Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Today we'll discuss two things that two different Nevi'im did that we find mentioned in the Nevi'im that Elisha did and Eliyahu did that create a halachic discussion. In Hilchas Ishus, in Even Ezer, there is a din that says that how a man should stay away from women that he's not allowed to marry. If he is happily married, he should stay away from other women. Ma'oid, as the Lashon of Shulchan Aruch. And the Shulchan Aruch gives you suggestions, the Shulchan Aruch gives you prohibitions, how to put boundaries. So, there is a halacha that says, in Siman Chaf Aleph, in Even Ezer, Ein shoyelim b'shleim isha. It is prohibited for a man to have a conversation in the way of Shalom Aleichem, how are you, etc., with a woman. Why? Because who knows where that leads? Who knows where that leads? If it's one of the arayas, if it's in the category of somebody you're not allowed to marry, you shouldn't have this frank conversation. Now, specifically, Shalom Isha. The Aruch HaShulchan brings that to say good morning, it's a menschliche thing. You see a person in the street, good morning, you're allowed to say. Shalom Aleichem, you're not allowed to. Then it goes on, the Aruch HaShulchan in Siman Chaf Aleph Siv Ches says, even though one of the arayas, some of the arayas is your own family members, your daughter, your granddaughter, etc., your daughter-in-law, so the Aruch HaShulchan says the same reason. To ask your daughter, your granddaughter, your daughter-in-law, Shalom Aleichem, write a letter or ask how you're doing, that's not a problem. Ain't Isser Klal b'Shila Shleimam, because the Leishayich B'hem Kirav Das, it's not going to lead to anything, because your family, that's what a father does. That is what a grandfather does. So there is no Isser Shila Shalom by your family members. By other arayas, stay away, do not do it. So then the Aruch HaShulchan asks a question. V'lachein matzinu ba'Elisha. Therefore we find that Elisha told his misharis, Rutzna likrasa, go run ahead towards the lady coming towards us. V'amar la hashalim lach, and tell her it's all well, hashalim lach. Now the question is, how was he allowed to do shalom when the Shulchan Aruch says ein shalim b'shleim isha? So typically you'll say that's for us humans. But Elisha, we're talking about a Navi, and Elisha wouldn't have these issues. So he gives another answer, and he says Misham ein raya. From there, perhaps you can't bring any proof either way, because his whole interaction there was al pi adibur asakol. It was everything Hashem told him to do. Sharei Navi haya. And if it's a Navi, the Eibusha told him to do. You got to listen, whatever it is. That's Elisha with the first halacha of Ein Shalim Shlema. Ein Shalim Shalim B'Shleim Isha. Then there is another, the next halacha in Shulchan Aruch, that says Ein Mishtamshim B'Isha. You're not allowed to get served. You're not allowed to use the service of a woman, and that's based on the Gemara in Kedushin of Ayin, where the Gemara says, and it's a machlekes between Rashi and Rambam, what the reasoning behind it is. Either it is you don't want the women to hang around where the men are, so you don't want it to mingle too easily. Or the reason is, who knows where a man's mind will be wandering off if he starts getting services from a woman. So the halacha says, Ein mishtamshim be'isha. Yet, by Eliyahu Navi, we find a pasuk. The pasuk is in Malachim Aleph Yud Zayin. Eliyahu Navi says, Aseli uga katana. Please make me a Danish, make me a piece of cake. That was a service. So the question is, A, why did he do it? Meaning, how was he allowed to do it? And B, the question is, what is it today when people, there are all different services that women do, and what is allowed, what is it not allowed? What does halacha say today? Especially that we find that the common practice in many homes is that you come home, the family sits together, and it could be a guest, many guests, and the woman of the house is serving the meal. And here there's a woman who's a rayas, an erva for this guest. She's serving to anybody there. And what would be the halacha? How would that stem with the halacha of ein mishtamshim be'isha? there's actually one of the poskim of today that suggests that when the woman does serve the food and it's to somebody that she shouldn't mingle with, she shouldn't put the food right in front of him. She should put it a little to the side to fit with this halacha. But yet we don't see that happening. And the question is, what is the halacha or what is the real halacha outlook about ein mishtamshin be'isha? So, as mentioned before, most of the poskim say that the reason why ein mishtamshin be'isha, because who knows where it's going to lead. You start off getting this kind of service from her, just giving you food, setting up, and yet you can never know. So if you look in Shulchan Aruch says two things. First of all, perhaps this only applies in public. Only applies in not in public, in a private place. Over there, if only you two and there's only a couple of people there, one thing leads to the next. If it's out in public, it's not a cheder miyuchad, there is less chance of trouble. Another thing the Shulchan Aruch says, that all these concerns are by acts that are derech chiba. If it's acts that are a way of love, this is what people who like each other do, help each other, then one thing leads to the next. But if it's just a regular business, it's a regular transaction, a regular action, not necessarily there is any follow-up. So you don't have to be that worried. So for all these jobs where if a woman, let's say if a woman walks by and she sees somebody struggling, a man struggling, picking up his stroller or anything, could a woman help out? It's not derech chiba. It's outside in the street public. So there shouldn't be any of these issues. So this is what the halacha is mentioned in, as I mentioned before, in Even Ezer, Siman Chaf Aleph.